All right, and this is Gather Chunks. So I guess I'm just going to call this episode 0, the rules as to logging chunks. And I know that there's been a lot of new viewers recently, and I want to go ahead and release this, put it at the beginning of the playlist for any new viewer who is willing to check out the series as a better way to learn all about the rules, as episode 1 does have all of this, and I'm actually going to pull everything from episode 1 and put it into this video during my little 3 or 4 minute intro, but I spruced it up a little bit, and there is one rule I forgot to mention, so I'm going to mention that at the end. The goal of this account is to get the trimmed achievement diary cape, and it's definitely doable with my rule set, you'll see. So I'm really excited about it. I've already been playing it for quite some time now. I'm releasing this way after the fact. I'm actually about to release episode 7, so yeah, I'm having a blast with the series, and if you were willing to check it out, here it is. Rules time. First off, this is actually going to be a main account, and I have access to the GE. Now I know traditionally chunk locked accounts are Iron Man accounts. I concluded that a main account essentially would be better for this series. I think it'll make a little more sense when we hear the chunk unlock requirements. Secondly, this will most certainly not be an extreme one chunk man account. While I do love watching that type of content, it's just not for me. I'd prefer to leave those grinds up to those content creators. In fact, this will be the polar opposite of an extreme one chunk man account. A slight one chunk man account. Well, for the first chunk that is. More on that later. This series will mainly be focused on the collection log, as I'll need to obtain collection log slots to unlock new chunks. Now, let's go over unlockable chunks. An unlockable chunk is an adjacent chunk to a chunk I already have, and I can choose that chunk. No rolling, I can choose it. An exception to this is physical forms of travel. These include things like charter ships, canoes, hot air balloon, the bird travel, and minecarts. No teleporting or magical forms of travel to unlock new chunks. And caves and dungeons within an unlocked chunk also become accessible. Now currently there are roughly 500 above ground walkable land chunks, so having a 1-to-1 ratio of collection log item to chunk would not be too challenging. I think we can all agree that we would unlock this map pretty quickly. So here's my solution. The first 100 chunks will require 1 collection log item for each chunk. Pretty simple. And from there we scale it up a bit. Chunks 100 through 200 require 2 collection log items. Chunks 200 through 300 will require 3 collection log items. I think you can see where we're heading with this. Chunks 300 through 400 will require 4 collection log items per chunk, and chunks 400 through the rest will require 5 collection log items each. This brings us up to a total of about 1,500 collection log items to unlock 500 chunks. Now, we all know it's pretty much impossible to get every single collection log item in this game. 1,500 is very difficult itself, but achievable. As new updates roll out, new items will come out. Each chunk will also cost GP. This will be 5,000 times the numerical order of chunk unlock. That means GP and money making will have a huge part in this series. This is why I'm playing a main account. An example of this will be chunk 10, it costs 50k, chunk 11 costs 55k, and so on. And each chunk payment will be converted to platinum tokens and serve no use currently. My starting chunk of Lumbridge is free and will not count towards the order. I will also be able to do group content such as Pest Control, Shades of Morton, Wintertod, etc. And I cannot use other players' player-owned houses, and no donations. Alright, and that's pretty much it. So again, I recorded that over 2 months ago at this point, and I've definitely improved my commentary, I think, at least a little bit. But the rule I forgot to mention is I can buy any item on the collection log. For example, a dragon axe, let's say. I do need to, whenever I get it via collection log means, I do need to sell it, but the downside is I cannot keep that GP when I sell it. I have to convert it also to platinum tokens, so I wanted to kind of design a risk versus reward system with that. Now, if this is your first time watching the Logging Chunks series, first of all, welcome and thank you for watching. I hope I've earned your subscription, but also I am going to go ahead and say, just skip to about 3 minutes into the first video if you are going to start from episode 1, as this is basically a copy of that. I just wanted to get it into more of a shorter video for people to actually know it exists and actually watch it. And that's about all I got, so I will see you in the series.